Well, it's another beautiful day, though cold and cloudy. Nonetheless, it's still beautiful. Today, I'd like to talk about you and your life. Now, I hope this mic is working and you're picking up this sound. If not, then I guess that's just the way it is. Now, the reason that this video is about you because it's really about your life, and that's just the way it is. Now, once upon a time, many years ago, you were born, and you were completely innocent because you were a baby. Right? Right. Now, that innocence is still part of you. Today I'm going to use the Matrix to explain how this is. Now, I don't know if you saw the Matrix or not. You might want to get it on video and look at it because it's quite wise. Now, anyway, when Neo was in the Matrix, okay, and this is the part of the 3-movie thing where he has to go see the architect. And in order to do that, he's got to jump through a few hoops and so on and so forth. Anyway, so he goes to the architect, and the architect tells him that his life is the sum of a transactional equation balancing itself out in the forces of the Matrix. And that's why he has the powers he does, and so on and so forth. And the same thing is true for you. Your life is also a transactional equation balancing itself out in the forces of life and death. Now, I know this sounds crazy. Just bear with me if you can. Okay, so, anyhow. So there you are, innocent as can be, and you're a baby. Around 3 or 4 years, 6 years old, your mom says to you, "Are you going to be good?" And all moms ask these questions because moms are basically moms. They like asking questions like this. So anyway, you are good, but your mom wants to know if you're going to behave. That's pretty much it. Now, when you were born, your dad said to your mom, "Hey, I will give you this child. I'll give you a baby if you stay true." That was the deal. And your mom said, "Yes, I will stay true if you give me this baby." So that's why your life is really part of a transactional equation, okay, balancing itself out. Now, anyway, so here's what happened. So Neo went into the architect's office. He was told that his life was part of an equation and that he was going to have to lead a new crew of people to somewhere to become Zeon again, or Xenon, or whatever it's called. Okay. And everyone else is going to have to die. Of course, he doesn't like this idea, and he says no. Now, that's just a part of what the Matrix is about, but it's a starting point. Now, like I said, your life is part of an equation as well, balancing itself out. It's the equation between your mom and your dad, who loved you, and what they promised each other. All right? Now, when you get to the age of, say, I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10, you start to realize that being good, while it's good and everything, it's not as fun as being bad. That's what you realize. So, anyway, that's how it goes. And Neo, of course, in the Matrix, and I will quote that, realizes that no matter what he does, he's going to lose the one he loves unless he acts. And of course, the architect says, "I sense the onset of an emotion." Bobby, you saw the movie. Okay, anyway. So, you are a quotient of a transactional equation which your parents started by having you, and that is part of who you are. Now, so at some point you hit 18 or 15, and you used to reach the age of reason, and you start realizing that it's not as much fun to be good as you thought. It's much more fun to be bad. So, that's how that goes. Now, so you are a boy or a girl. At least that's what you think you are. You think you're a boy or you think you're a girl. Okay? And you think that you are either good or bad depending on what your behavior has been throughout your life. Maybe you think you're a little nun, or you think you're a priest, or whatever you think, because you think you've been good. Or maybe you think you've been bad, and you decide that, screw it, why not continue being bad? Right? That's just the way it is. And so you go out and you get messed up, and so on and so forth. You screw a lot of women or a lot of men, and you tarnish, you think, your soul. That's what goes on in your mind, because you think that's you. Now, so that is all a fallacy, because there is no good or bad. It doesn't exist. It is a construct of the human mind. You are a product of the light of God. Therefore, you cannot do bad or good either. You can only do what is considered godly. That's who you are. Now, in the Matrix, Neo was trying to figure out how to save his loved one and the city so that he could be the one. Okay? And that's what he was doing when the architect said, I sense the onset of emotion. In a way, the architect is like you, because you can sense the onset of emotion too. Now, I know this is strange, but just keep with me. So there you are, you're 18 or 20 or whatever it is, you've gone to college. Hold on, 1 second. Sorry about that, my grandchild came in. Now, so here you are, you're Neo in the Matrix because you think your life is not working out or whatever it is, and you're trying to figure it out. Okay? And so you do good things and you do bad things, you think. Okay? But the fact is there is no good or bad, because life is about the push and pull of fear and aversion. You try to get away from things that you fear and towards things that you want. Like, for instance, sex. Desire of any kind is wanting something, and so you're trying to get towards that by pushing other things like fear away. That's what life is really about. So anyway, Neo decides that doing things the way the architect wants them isn't going to work. So he rescues his woman, and he cures her of whatever was wrong with her. And they decide to go up and fight the machines. Only one problem: Neo's alter image, or negative space, which is, of course, the agent, I don't remember his name, gets in on the ride. Okay, and so Neo winds up blinded, so he can't really see anything except the machine city. And please go away. I do not want you. Thank you. Sorry, my dog. Okay, so that's the plot of the last movie of The Matrix. Alright? And so, really sorry about that. That was the dog. Now, so, here you are, and you think you're good or bad, because that's what you've been taught to think. Because your mom and dad asked you to be good, and you decided independently of that you were going to be bad. That's the way the world is, right? So, anyway, so if I haven't lost you, please bear with me. Now, there is no good There is no bad. There is only the duality of your life, which is basically a dichotomy between good and bad that you think exists but isn't really there. Okay? Now, just like in the Matrix, you have a choice to either do good or to do bad. And like Neo, he decided that he was going to buck the system and try and fix everything himself. Which is fine, you can do that too. Anyway, the point is that you are trying to be good or bad, and you are trying to make yourself toe the line or whatever it is. That is the nature of it. What the actual fact is that there is no such thing as duality. It is an illusion. You cannot be good or bad, or behaved or not behaved. None of that stuff actually exists. It is a construct of the human mind. Now, this is because that's just the way it is. Because the way we were bred and raised is flawed. Because that's the way people are. Now, so, you're trying to figure things out just like Neo is in the Matrix. And you are the one, because that's just the way it is. Now, anyway, so, you're trying to live the way your mom or dad wanted you to live. You're trying to be good, or you're trying to be bad. Either way, it doesn't matter, because there is no good and there is no bad. There is no duality. It's all one thing. Now, that's just the way it is. You can believe me or not. You can think, oh, yes, there's good and bad. Blah, blah, blah. Of course there's good and bad, but that's not you. Now, so, the reason this relates to the movie The Matrix is because you think you're just one person. You have no idea who you are, and you're trying to figure it all out on your own, which isn't basically going to work because you're actually the one. It's crazy, isn't it? Anyway, so there you are being the one and trying to make your life work. The only one problem is you're stuck in the dichotomy between good and bad, and you're caught. You're trapped. There's nothing you can do because you think you're bad or you think you're good, and you're trying to work your way out of it. And it just doesn't work that way. You're neither good nor bad because there is no good bad, just like there's no time. Excuse me. Get away from me, dog. I'm trying to make a video. Can't you see that? Alright. That's right. Anyway, I know this is very confusing because I'm using The Matrix, which everyone has seen and knows the plot to try and illustrate what's going on. There is no good, and there is no bad, just like there is no time, no future, no past. Duality, which is what you think your life is, okay, doesn't exist. It is an illusion. And this illusion is basically running your life. Because that's the way it is. Now, in the movie, The Matrix, Neo finally gets where he's going, which is the Machine City, and he offers the machines a bargain, which is he'll take out Smith, that's his name, and so on and so forth. And that's what you do too. You are making a bargain with God that you will either be good or bad according to his lights, and that so on and so forth. Now, whether it's God or machine intelligence or whatever it is that you've made the bargain with really doesn't matter because it's all part of the same thing. Now, you are not, obviously, in a movie. Your life is real. Sorry about that. Anyway, so that's what's going on with your life. You think you're good or you think you're bad, and you think that that is pretty much everything. There's no good, there's no bad, it doesn't exist. Why? Because that's the way nature made it. Once again, I'm sorry for the interruptions, but that's life, isn't it? Yeah, interruptions always happen. Now, so you are the one in the Matrix, anyway, as far as the Matrix is concerned, and you are trying to balance your equation, which was started before you ever existed by your mom and dad. And you think you're good or you think you're bad, and so you try to be either or, whatever it is. You break the rules or you don't break the rules, whatever it is. Okay? That's how it goes. I know it's crazy, isn't it? So anyway, in the Matrix, Neo realizes as he is fighting Smith that it doesn't matter if he wins or loses because Smith doesn't really exist. Because there is no evil, there is no good, there is no bad, none of that stuff really exists. And so he stops kind of trying, and that's how he wins. It's a movie. What do you want? Anyway, so in your life, you realize at some point that being good or bad is a trap or something of that nature. And so you stop trying to be it. That's what goes on. Now, or maybe you don't see it as a trap. But either way, you're trying to be good or bad, and you think that's blackening your soul because that's just what you think. Okay? And you start heaping condemnation upon yourself about it. Which, is fine. You want to heap condemnation upon yourself, go right ahead. Okay? However, the point of this podcast is to help make, that's not a podcast, it's a video, is to help make your life a little bit better. So, I'm going to continue. Now, in the Matrix, Neo finally realizes what he has to do, which is become Smith. In order to balance the equation between the two of them, he has to become him. And that's when he sort of gives up. Now, I know this is hard to get, I know it's difficult, but basically this is the way your life is. You think you're good, or you think you're bad, and you go about doing good or bad, depending on what you think. Okay? There is no bad, there is no good, there is no future, there is no past. None of that stuff is real because that is the nature of duality, which is a dichotomy between good and bad, evil, and all that stuff. Okay? Which doesn't really exist because you are a product of the light of God. You are not a person, therefore you cannot be bad or good. You are a product of the light of God. Now, you can say, oh, that's not who I am. I'm this and that. Yeah, well, go ahead, say it. I'm not trying to stop you. So, anyway, as you fight against the isness of your own life, which is what you do because you don't know that that's your isness. You think, oh, I'm good or bad, and therefore I have to fight in order to make myself feel one way or the other. Okay? And that is kind of what Neo does for the first half of the last movie of The Matrix. Now, at some point in your life, you realize that, hey, you're not going to win. It's not going to happen because there's too much against you and so on and so forth, and you give up. That's the way it is. So, you say, I am black because my soul is black, and you say it doesn't matter how black I am because I still care about God, and I want to pray to Him and make Him realize what a great person I am. Only one problem, the God you're praying to doesn't exist. I know some people are going to say, oh, no, of course He exists. God exists, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, He doesn't. You see, God is really you. And the Christian church, okay, Christ and everybody, wants you to think that God's out there somewhere. So they have you pray to Him, or do church masses or sing songs in a building with a bunch of other people. That's what they do in order to control you, because it is a system of control, just like in the Matrix, to keep you ignorant of what is. And that ignorance is how they win. Now, there is no God outside of you, because God doesn't exist in the universe. He exists in the formless dimension. And you are the only way to get to the formless dimension is through you. That is the way it is. I know it's hard to realize or believe that that's how it is, that you are the only doorway to God for you, and the only way for you to be able to see God or feel God is to open that doorway. Now, in the Matrix, Neo decides that he can't win, and so he gives up. And Smith hits him with the old ping, which basically allows Neo to become part of Smith's programming. Crazy, isn't it? But that's what it is. You have been programmed. You have been, I can't remember the word, but that's what is going on. You were programmed by your parents, by the world, by the schools, by your boss, and everything else. Okay, and conditions to believe and accept your programming. Okay, that is why the Matrix is kind of like relevant in this particular situation. Now, if you're having trouble following me, it's because you have been blinded by the world. And if you need to, just stop the tape, rewind it, and go back to the beginning. So, in order for you to balance your equation so that you can be happy, you need to do one of two things. A, you need to forget about this idea that you're bad or good. Because you're not bad or good, because you are part of the light of God. And as long as you think you're bad and you heap condemnation upon yourself with your thoughts, okay, which say, I am a terrible person and I need to be punished. That's what your thoughts say. Because you're not really making the thoughts. The thing making the thoughts is the fake identity or the ego. Now, so, that is the situation. You are caught in the trap of duality. You are caught in the trap of good and bad, time, future, past. And because of this, you cannot change what you think is your life, because you think your life is a timeline starting from one side and going to the other. Birth to death. That's not what it is at all, but that's what you think. Now, I don't want to make anybody out to be wrong, but I'm just trying to explain to you what is in this world. Now, God, okay, who is, a great, wonderful thing in your life, you don't know it, but that's what he is. He's like, in a way, it's outside of the Matrix. He's not part of the Matrix because he does not have a duality, which is what the Matrix is really about, is duality. And so therefore he's outside of that. He is more or less not in the picture. Okay? And you believe that you are bad, or you believe that you are good. And as such, when you get pain, which is what this video is really about, you think it's a punishment that you deserve because that's what you think. Okay? Now, as such, you say, this is my pain. I earned this pain by doing bad. That's what you say. Or you think, oh, I didn't deserve this because I was a good guy, or I didn't hurt anybody, or whatever it is. Okay? Because you think that your pain is a product of your life, which of course doesn't exist at all. Your life is not a product of pain. It's not a product of how good you are or bad you are. It's a product of God making you into a soul before you were born. Now, you don't have to believe me. You can just go ahead and think. Otherwise, whatever you want to think. I'm not trying to make you think anything. I'm trying to explain to you how the world actually is. So, you are not bad, and you are also not good. You do not have a future, and you do not have a past. These are things that are true. No matter what you do with them, that's what they are, true. Because all this stuff, the future, the past, the good, the bad, all of it is a system of control put in place by people who want to control you. Like the church and the Christians and the government and all that. And that's the way it is. Now, all you have to do in order to break out of this trap that you're caught in is to realize you are not a person. That's it. It's pretty simple. Because the reason you're not a person is because you're just not. You are a soul. You are the thing that God made to make you become part of the world. Okay? In order to be in the world, you have to have a soul. And that soul is who you are really, even though you think you're somebody else. That's just the way it is. Now, I hope you're all following this, and if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. So you are the one, okay, that God has chosen to be his vessel, and he dumps all of his goodness into your soul. That's why I can say you're the one. Simple as that. Now you can say, oh, well, God doesn't do that. God is some being out there in the universe, and so on and so, but that's just not true. Now you don't have to believe what I say about God. You can think, oh, God is doing whatever he's doing, and it doesn't really matter because it's not going to affect your life. And that's fine. You want to think that, go ahead. But if you're having trouble with pain, or you're having trouble with bad feelings about your life, it's because you think you're bad, or you think you're good, or you think you're in the past, or you think you're in the future. All of this is an illusion, okay? Because none of those things actually exist. The only thing that really exists is your soul. Now we pile all this stuff on top of our souls because that's what you do for a child. And you try and figure out who the child is by watching his behavior, and you put that all down in a notebook or whatever, and it goes into his file, and thereafter, when people want to know about you, they look in your file. It's crazy, isn't it? So, that is the way it is, okay? There is no deserving of anything because you are a soul who does not deserve good or bad or anything else. Because there is no dichotomy between you and God. There is God and there's you, and it's one thing. I know this is hard to understand. This is why I say if you lose me at any point, or if I lose you at any point in time, please back the video up and try again. So, now you are trying to figure out your life. And you think your life is the quotient of a transactional equation between your mom and your dad, or whatever it is you think your life is, that's what it is. Okay? Now, that's pretty much it for the whole video. Why is this important? Because in order to escape the trap that you're in, which is like this, okay, and you can't get out because not enough room. As Elon Musk says, Anyway, the point is that this is how you can get free, because you're not in a trap as yet, because you're still young. Or maybe you're old and you are in the trap, but you know what the trap is now. Okay? And so, you have to navigate through your life and deal with what you have to do. That's just the way it is. I love you all because you are part of God, and I am part of God, and we are all one thing, and that's God. And I will always love you because that's who you are, to me anyway. I know you think that you're somebody different, you think that your name is John, and that you grew up in Cincinnati, or whatever it is that you think, and you think that's what rules your life. But the fact is that's not it. What rules your life is a aversion and fear. Because that is the nature of the isness. Now, sorry about that. So, as you go through your life, you will see, maybe, if you try and look, that this is so. Because it just is. You're not bad, you're not good, you're simply God. You're part of God, God is part of you, there's no divising you from God or from anything else. Because everything that is alive is a part of God, and that is who you are as well. Now, I'm not saying any of this is easy. It's all very hard to try and figure out what to be in this life. And I'm sorry that that's the case, because they make it so complex by putting in all these illusions and attachments, which helps you to get lost. That's just the way it is, and trapped. Now, all you have to do in order to get out of the trap, okay, is to say, I am not in pain because I was bad. I am not in pain because I was good. I am in pain because the nature of life is an illusion, and I have been laboring under this illusion, trying to make my life work. And the only problem with that is it won't. That's the way it is. Now, all you have to do in order to escape this trap is to realize that you are not a person. You may look like a person and act like a person, and you have hands and a face and so on and so forth, which is what people have. But that is not who you are, because you are a soul. Now, if you believe this or you don't believe it, it really doesn't matter, because eventually you'll figure that out on your own. Now, I just want to say that if any of this got past you or you didn't understand it, please question what I'm saying in the comments, and I will answer your questions as best I can. I cannot help you unless you question me, because otherwise you're not going to understand. Life is made of challenges, and one of the challenges is that you don't understand, because it's all so complex. You think you're a boy or a girl. Well, there's no such thing as boys and girls in the now. In the now, everything is one thing, God. You think you're bad, or you think you're good. There's no such thing as bad or good in the now, because everything is one. And the now is where you truly belong, because that is who you are. If you think that you're not the now, then that's fine, but it's a lie. So, and the Catholic Church and the Christian Church and the government and the Senate and the Congress and everyone else, including President Trump, wants you to believe it's not you. They want you to believe that you are a helpless peon who cannot do anything for yourself, because that is what they think about themselves, and they're trying to struggle against it in order to make the world a better place that they think for them. It's a crazy world, isn't it? And anyway, that's basically the whole 9 yards. If anything I said doesn't ring true with you, okay? And it may not, because a lot of it was about stuff you haven't been associated with, you don't know what it's about. I use the Matrix a lot in this particular explanation of who you are, and basically because it's a handy way of showing you that you are the one. Alright, well, I love you all because you're me, and we are all one in the eyes of the Lord, because we're all part of God. You have a great life and a great day, and please take care when you're out trying to battle the demons that you think you have, which you do not have, because you are not part of the dualistic nature of the universe. The dualistic nature of the universe is an illusion. And that illusion is what you think you are. Alright, well, I guess I've said enough. It's already 35 minutes in, which I promised I wouldn't do because the algorithm doesn't like anything that's longer than 30 minutes. Crazy, isn't it? Alright, so I hope I've answered your questions, and I hope I've been able to explain to you why you are in a trap and how you got there. And if you have any more questions about any of this stuff, please let me know so I can explain it further to make you understand your life. Alright, well, I'm going to end the video here. You have a great life and a great day.